storytelling. So, in your own way, in your own words, and from your own experiences thus far, what is the best way to describe effective storytelling?
Okay. When we talk about effective storytelling, it's all about passing, using the right ways or the right combination to communicate effectively. As we know, the definition of communication is, transmitting or transferring communication messages to your expected or desired audiences, getting feedback. You understand? So if the story you are telling, if the ways or how you want to tell these stories is not going to properly transfer or transmit this your desired message, that they are not going to understand it, then there's a problem. I remember in film school, when we're done with everything, the teacher or the tutor said that if you need to explain certain scenes to your audiences, it means that you have not done a good job. If you need to tell them, oh, this place actually, I'm trying to show that someone is angry, it means you've not done a good job. So when it is effective, it is when the communication, the story can fly on its own without any extra, even if you don't subtitle, even if it's in pidgin English and the people that are watching it don't actually understand pidgin. As long as they understand that story and as long as understand what you're trying to pass, it's effective.
Okay. A huge lot of us grow up listening to stories, folk tales, folklores, and all of that. How huge of a difference, or let me put it like this, is there a difference between those stories that we heard then and the stories we are telling now?
Well, so are we talking about stories that we are telling in our movies? Or,
yes.
Okay. Well, I think if you are a good storyteller, that if you are the type that can actually watch a movie and recast these movies to other people that didn't watch it, and they can somehow grab that idea, yes, fine. But I won't say there's any much difference, because we are talking about two different generations. You understand? Back then, we did not have the kind of technological assets that we have now. You understand? So, in the best way, if you still give me the opportunity, I still want to go back to Tales by Moonlight. Yeah. You understand? I still want to watch those series again, because with very little, digital technology at their disposal, they were still able to convey their stories appropriately and effectively. So, but now we have so much, and it makes it easy now. We use CGI, we use visual effects, use lots of technological apparatus to help us tell our stories better. So it will be difficult to say, oh, they did not do a good job then, or to say they are doing a better job now. It's just two different generations.
Okay, and then speak and develop narrative that sort of just transcends both generations, because we have so many now, the boomers, the millennials, the Gen Zs, Gen Alphas coming, and everybody has their own different type of what's this word? They use the word the TikTokification. TikTok has made everyone's attention span really short. So how do we develop narrative that sort of transcends to all of this audience, that one story can fit all, and we're not telling a story that one generation cannot? Of course, there will be some stories that both generations can relate to, but how can we tell a story that can resonate with diverse audiences?
It's actually a tough job, but it is possible. It's a tough job because it means you have to be extremely creative, extremely. Let me use a particular artist. I don't want to mention name, but he somehow appeals to both the young and the old. I have let me even mention his name. I'm talking about Kiss Daniel. Now I've noticed there's this particular song, the first time I heard that song, I could hear Tales by Moonlight. It sampled Tales by Moonlight. And it appealed to me, coming from that generation. Now, it's also, the song still appeals to the Gen Zs because of the reading. Then the song still appeals to those that are older than my own generation because it is slow, it is danceable. Now, it is now your own job. Now, let's bring it to storytelling. It's your own job to ensure that somehow you fuse all of these different things together. You have to understand, just like you said, TikTokification, right? The attention span is very short. It means for you to actually hold people's attention, you have to do a very good job, either with your story, with the punchlines, with the delivery, and the effects and all of that that you want to use. You have to understand that people don't, even the older ones too, don't really have that time to actually sit and watch things for too long again. So you have to ensure that whatever you are delivering is actually you are delivering effectively. You understand? So it's not going to be easy, but it is possible. It is doable, which is why I actually used Kiss Danny as an example. He's done it perfectly. His songs, you see, him sample the old, and somehow even the president and vice president sit down, they still vibe to the song.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. Let's talk about creativity now. When we are telling the stories, like you said, I think in the first when I asked the first question, describing effective storytelling, you spoke about being able to tell a story that you don't have to explain, which means giving clarity to a story. Now, how do we balance creativity and clarity in the same narrative? Because oftentimes, because I prefer creativity to clarity. I will not deny that. You can jumble up a film for me, and I would like to watch it and dissect it myself. I don't care about the clarity. I want to do it myself. But how do we balance that? Because oftentimes, due to the attention span, nobody wants to sit again and start dissecting movies. So how do we balance creativity in such a way that as we are watching this movie, we're also getting what we need in terms of clarity in it?
Okay, it's going to be a tough job, like
Yes.
I said. For me, I like creativity. When I first got into the music video space, it used to be creativity for me. I just wanted to just do so many things. But as I grew in the industry, I realized that clarity is also important. Most times when they say less is more, you start going for the simplistic approach. You start using the simple things that actually properly describe, or portrays or conveys your messages. Now, how do you balance now comes down to your prospective or your targeted audiences. If you are targeting the old, they don't need much creativity. They just need clarity. They don't have that time, the luxury to actually check all of these things. They just want the message. Now, if you are dealing with maybe my own generation, the 80s, yes, now you may need to, because we are that bridge between the old and the new. Now you have to give us a bit of, creativity and clarity. Now, for the Gen Zs, I think it has to be creative. It has to be creative.
Yes.
So it is now your job to understand who you want to, there's this movie, Inception.
Yes.
Now, I had to watch Inception for 3 times
Yeah.
before I understood what they were actually trying to do. And there are other movies too, like I think Mad Max.
Yes, there's Tenet.
You understand? You need to, and there's this, some other ones I can't remember now. You have to watch twice or 3 times. Okay, this is what they're trying to do. And just like you said, yes, you like that. I do, because yes, I'm a filmmaker.
Yeah.
But not everybody does. So if you know that you want your movies to sell, very well, box office successes and all of that, you may just need to go for clarity. Let people just put a little bit of, because I remember there's this movie, my first attempt at feature films. I've been doing music videos all my life. So my first attempt at feature film, I think I did too much. Right? I was doing 360 degrees movement. There were scenes that the camera didn't stop at all, 360 degrees, camera moving from one place to another. That is creativity. But when I took it to some TV stations, they didn't buy it, off-takers. They said, we want medium shots, close-up shot, long shots, nothing, don't do anything too special. You understand? So now it's your own job now to understand how the kind of success you want, which is going to determine the kind of language and deliveries. Just look at Funke Akindele, nothing too special, simple. Very simple lines, drop it, and let people just consume it like that.
Okay, speaking of, you said something about taking these things to radio stations and to TV stations, and they're telling you to, they want something simple. how do you now handle that feedback? Knowing you as an individual, you like the creativity, your style is the creative style. That's what you bring to the table. But when you now take it all over to this place and they are telling you now we want something a little more simpler, want something with a little more clarity. So how do you handle that feedback to actually grow more as a person, more as an individual, and more as a filmmaker?
To be sincere, it's tough.
Yeah.
I've not been able to shoot another feature film since since I got the feedback, because cumulatively funds from co-producers and myself, I'm sure we put in about 3 million or 4 into that project. We did not even pay some cast. You understand? Putting about 3 million into this project, and putting 3 million into a project, over 3 million, about 4 million into a project, and just keeping the movie on your system, it discourages. And because no matter how hard I want to try, that creative part of me still stays. I studied in India, and that's the Bollywood effect and all of that, rubbed off on me. I still want to do a movie that I have maybe like 3 to 5 minutes of just music and dancing, just like they do in Bollywood movies. You understand? So I think I can go 2 ways. If I know I want money, I want commercial success, I go their routes. Then if I want to shoot my own movie that I'm just going, we have director cuts and all of that. If I just want a movie that I just want to just enjoy myself, I do my own creativity. And with time, they are going to accept it. Yeah. That's what I've come to understand. With time and consistency, they will understand that this is this person's style. And like I keep saying, I told a friend of mine when I shot his music video, he said a particular director complained about my flashback and throwback effect. I said throwback should be black and white and all of that. I said no, maybe in his own mind, he sees when it flashes back, he sees black and white in his head. But I don't see black and white in my own head. I see dreamy, foggy, grainy pictures in my own head. And that is how I want to say. So every single director has their own, individual differences. And that's what makes them special. So if you have that power, you have the energy and the financial capacity, keep pushing it out. Eventually they will come, this guy is just crazy. You have different directors, Scorsese, Cameron, they have different ways of telling their stories, So some have these, very gloomy pictures, and that's just their style.
Okay. You're still listening to Unilag 103.1 FM, and we're talking effective storytelling with Dr. Olatunji here in the studio. We're going to quick break now. When we get back, there's still more to talk about. Stay tuned.
Happy, sees the rainbows, the butterflies and all of that. It's going to reflect also in his or our stories,
Okay, then let's quickly dive into it. You said something about when you were teaching or when you were lecturing, and I'd like to ask, what was the motivation behind going to, or what is the motivation behind lecturing? And how has it been so far?
Okay, my journey into the classroom is a very funny one, because growing up, I never actually liked lecturers. My dad is a lecturer. He used to be like he's a professor now. I never lectured because I knew that there was no money in academics. So I said to myself, nah, you never find me here. So I was doing other things. As an undergraduate, the kind of money I was making from music videos, it wasn't even making from the job. So I vowed never to just come into the classroom. But, I had a surgery, I had, out-of-body experience, and it got to a point I realized that life is not all about the money. You can make all the money in this world. And by the time you're about to leave this world, you just pack your bags and leave. And nobody actually remembers you for anything. But if you can somehow share your knowledge, impact lives, if out of 200,000 or 500,000 students you interact with, because it's possible with the way universities are admitting students now, if out of 200,000 or 300,000 students you interact with, if you can touch 20,000 lives, it means you have actually changed 20,000 stories. And by the time they talk about their stories in the future, they are going to talk about you. When I talk about those lecturers that impacted me, some of them are gone, but they are still alive in my stories. You understand? So I realized that, and I realized that we can't, if all of us, sit back and say, okay, let's let these young ones just handle these things on their own. They may decide to do whatever they want. There's a Yoruba adage that says, if you allow a madman handle the mother's corpse, they decide to barbecue the body. You understand? So And I saw that the kind of role models they have are role models that are actually impacting their lives negatively. So I realized that, okay, if I come into the system, I am that perfect role model for them, both economically, financially, and at the same time academically. They say, okay, that this man is savvy, is all this is sound academically, and is also economically savvy, financially savvy. He's doing other things. He's living that life they want to live. Maybe, just maybe, some of them can actually change their ways, and just follow that right path. So that's actually what, and it's been fun. It's been fun because I see each class as an opportunity to actually touch more lives. So I'm always looking forward to the next class.
Okay, that's quite good. That's fascinating. Let's quickly dive into your history with peer public relations. How has that sort of influenced your filmmaking, as well as how you interact with people generally?
Okay, so my first degree, I had my first degree in the Faculty of Communication, then it was School of Communication, then Department of Public Relations and Advertising. It changed me a great deal. I used to be a terrible introvert. I lacked that skill to actually talk to people. I just keep to myself. But after graduating, I understood how to actually read the industry, then read people's body, read the atmosphere, and properly structure my messages in such a way that I can attract their attention and at the same time get my messages out. I've used it personally for years, either in my music video production, movie production, other businesses that I've ventured into. I've been able to use PR as a tool, PR and advert as a tool, right, to properly reach the people, and because I understood then that most things we see or most news we think we are actually consuming is just a product of public relations. You understand? Maybe not most, some. You understand, some of them. I've come to understand that it's a product, or they are products of public relations, effective public relations, and it's not an overnight thing, and it's not an off the shelf thing. It's something that you have to think. And because when we were in school, we did more practicals than even classroom stuff. Our lecturers would make us go to the field to learn, and that way we saw how to do some of these things. And till date, I can properly look at the industry and understand where it is actually going. Look at any field and understand where it's actually going, and properly reposition to actually get the right results that our clients, even myself, that then the company needs.
I get that. So it has helped greatly, and really that's really all that matters. Let's talk about ideas in storytelling. I think this question was born from another tweet that I saw. Someone made a graphic design of, I think he was trying to pitch to a huge brand, and he made a graphic design with the Olympics logo, and he posted it, and I was like, oh, this is my idea. And a lot of people were like, oh, this is good, this is nice. And then someone retweeted and said, oh, I've seen this before, I've seen this from somewhere before. And they brought out, the internet they brought out different clips. So someone was done in 2016 for this same brand, this one was done in. So, and then the person challenged him and said, I'm not shooting down what you've done, but you cannot come and say this is from you, or this came from your idea. So I'm curious, have we exhausted the plethora of fresh ideas, or we are now in the era where we can take those ideas and innovate them?
Okay, this is a very sensitive area or topic or question. When we talk about creativity or ideation or creating ideas, there is no idea that's actually new. Just like I said, who we are or what we are now is a product of our childhood. What we've seen over the years are things that will come back again to form whatever we do. Now, when you come up with an idea, it's possible that you've seen something somewhere, and it's left that that mark in your mind without knowing, unconsciously, it's there, and you somehow think it is new. It is not new. Even if it is new, someone else is thinking about it, right? When we talk about plagiarism, for instance, in the academic environment, when you write a line of thoughts, somehow somebody somewhere else would also have the same line of thoughts. So it's not possible, but your ability to recreate whatever you've seen in such a way that it makes it look different. Like Heidi Kabaza said on air once, that your ability to steal, but be smart about it, that people don't know that you've actually stolen, is what makes you creative. You understand? So you should be able to, even if you take other people's ideas, add your own to it. And when you even look at plagiarism, going back to plagiarism, all the plagiarism checkers, as long as your own idea is there and you've distorted the way the originator's line of thought, is, you've actually changed it. So for the person to say that I created this, where did the person see the idea from? His dream or where? You must have seen something somewhere. And even if you've not seen something somewhere, nobody is actually blessed with that no one else actually thinks of the same thing you are thinking. Most times, if you think of a business idea or creating something, if you don't activate it immediately, within the next few years or few months, you realize that someone else is already doing it.
Okay, then. Okay, that makes sense. Let's talk about success. Now, when a story is told from whatever narrative it is, how do we gauge the success of that story? How do we gauge it has reached the right audience? How do we also gauge that the audience understands it and they can relate to it?
Okay, so how do we gauge the success of a story or the success of a movie, success of whatever you want to do? It depends on what you planned before you actually created it. Now, if you want to be successful in the box office, then the metrics to gauge if it is successful is how much you've made from the box office. And if your own the metric for measuring the success of your own content, of your story, is that you want it to cause societal changes. You want it to change the way people think. That may not bring money. But as long as you see that people are changing, you've actually achieved your own success. So it depends on what you want to achieve. Nobody makes a film, without having a predetermined metrics in his head. You should have your own KPI to measure your success. And my own success, what means success to me may not mean success to you. I may not mean success to the next director. I've met some directors like TK. Baba TK is not really interested in that money that comes in. He's interested in telling. He's interested in telling stories, compelling stories, changing the narrative, projecting the African culture, our tradition to the world. He's not interested in that money. But we have Kunle Afolayan. Kunle Afolayan is a mix. He's also trying to portray our stories and all of that, and our narratives, and also money. Now we have some other directors that I don't want to mention their names. It's strictly commercial for them. Because when you watch their stories, when you watch their movies, you see that you don't really see much substance from their stories, but you can see that it performs very well. So the end goal determines the mixture, or the people that will eat your soup will determine, or how you want them to pay for your soup. If it is Buka food or a KFC food, I'm not mentioning any brand here anyways, or any kind of brand's food, any big brand, the people that are going to buy it will determine how you are going to put all this your concoction together.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just looking at the time. We'll wrap up with one more question. What is how do you see the filmmaking industry over the next few years in terms of the stories we are going to tell? Because lately now, with the entire Netflix, Prime, and Amazon, all of that, they are making a lot of movies, or they are tilting towards a lot of cultural movies from our end. So over the next 5-10 years, how do you see that section or that visual type of movies blowing up?
Well, we'll get lazy in the next 10 years, and because many people will just we have distorted stories.
Okay.
You know, people just
Come
hook
and
up
tell us
anything
stories
in their
for us.
head and just bring it out. And but I see a lot of AI interference in the future. You know, AI is going to come. AI is already doing that already. You know, you see a complete movie that's shot, scripted, recorded, and you know, edited by AIs. So that's well, it's. I'm waiting to see what actually the future actually holds. We can't really,
We can't really tell.
we can't really tell.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you
Alright.
so much for
It's
being
my pleasure.
here. I'm trying to wrap up because of the time, but thank you so much, Dr. Olatunji, for coming. And then, like we'd always say, dream big, help people around you, and the sky is always the starting point. It's no longer the limit. It's always the starting point. So we'll meet again, same time, same station next week, Thursday. Keep dreaming big.